So just doing a wee intro to the video that follows. It's a video of the difference between the high and the low route after Rowardennan on the West Highland Way. I'm just trying to show the differences and sort of this difference in time for me. And I'm doing this video from the Greenock Cut. And it looks down over Greenock, across the Clyde, across to the mountains on a very sunny day towards the end of January. And so the video starts with me coming out of the car park at Rowardennan and walking round the edge of the car park, which isn't really West Highland Way, but it's to show people where the monument is. And you just walk round the edge of the car park, get to the monument and keep going beyond the monument, and you will come to the proper West Highland Way path again. So I hope you like it, and towards the end and during it I'll give you a few snippets of what I think about the differences between the high and the low route. Hope you like it. So Ptarmigan Lodge Gatehouse is just down there, and the West Highland Way continues up past the lodge. And you go through a few sets of these yellow guides to stop lorries going any higher lorries going up beyond here. But that's when they were doing other kind of work over here, which is no longer ongoing. So you're still on this road going past Ptarmigan. And vehicles use this, forestry vehicles and national park vehicles. Not far on, you come to the end of the camping zone area, and after it you can camp anywhere basically. And just beyond that is the split between low path and high path, and I'll come back and show you that. So coming up is the post indicating the end of the camping area. Management zone. You're now leaving the camping management zone. So beyond here, you can camp anywhere you can find a space for your tent. And once we get to the low path, high path, the low path has numerous places to stop. Absolutely numerous. So about 200 metres after the end of the camping zone, you come to this junction, big signpost, West Highland Way, down to the left. The path down to the left is a footpath, and that's the low path. Path straight ahead, which then bends to the left just after the sign, is a road for the next 2.5 miles, where both paths join up again. The low path comes up and joins onto the high path. And there's another big sign at that point. However, the direction posts stating West Highland Way have been stolen over the past few years by idiotic trophy hunters. So today I'm heading down the low path, and I'll try and show what it's like. So it starts by going straight down basically. Rough stony path, easy enough. Right down to the side of the beach area. So it took me 40 minutes to get from the Rowardennan car park to this point. So this is the first hill down on the low path, taking you down to the Loch Lomond side. Then it's a simple flattish walk for a while, just like this. So I've come on another 5 minutes or so from the last time I was on, and I went up and down a few small hills, and it was stone steps. They were very simple. Now this part you have to be careful because it's quite narrow, and these wooden boards that's holding the earth in place can get slippy. They're fine today, but obviously if you've got a heavy pack, it's easy to overbalance or lose your balance. So we're going down here onto the wee squinty bridge with a bend in it. So down the steps, and then onto the wee bridge. And that's it. We've just come down. So across the wee bridge. The steps I was talking about back there are just like these ones. They're quite simple, nothing difficult. But the views down here, they're just amazing. So a wee bit further on, and we come to this nice opening where it's a very good camping area. It's nice and flat around here, right by the beach. And on a day like this, it's just wonderful. This is early morning, nearly 10:30. And then beyond this again, there's other spaces. Now, when you come across something like this, tiny puddle, looks quite muddy, but you see the footprints to the right and to the left, and both right and left are exceptionally muddy. The best part is straight through the middle. It's nothing. Now, if you've got walking poles, you can test these things before you walk through them to make sure they're not 6 feet deep, or more likely 3 or 4 inches deep. But that one was less than an inch, and that is nothing to walk through. Now, this wee bit is probably and definitely the highest climb on this low route. Although the walk from the low route back up to the high route is much higher, but it's just a walk on a gradual rise all the way. But this is the highest single small climb. Lots of wooden steps, but very straightforward. And that's it, finished. So back down again. And down this steep stairway onto beside the loch again. Now this is a bit more serious, muddy bit. There's lots of mud here. But today it's actually okay. Just stick to the rocks, don't go left, don't go right. That's where all the mud is, because people made it that way. Stick to the rocks through the middle. The same up here. Don't go left, don't go right. Stick to the middle, where the firmer ground is, and it's easy to get through. So here is another wee climb. I said the last one there was probably the highest. This is probably a bit higher, not quite so steep, more gradual, goes on for quite a wee bit away up there. So you get a few steps and then it levels out, and a few more stone steps, then over the other side. Now when you come up to this part, see there's a path off to the right here, and a signpost for the West Highland Way off to the left. Obviously we're going the West Highland Way, so we're going left. But that path there leads up onto the road, the high path. And I'll show you where it meets it when I'm going back the high path. And at the top of the path up there, there's a signpost showing that the high path is the West Highland Way as well. So, just along here a bit, and then we start to go up towards Rowardennan, Bothy, and past the Bothy is where we meet the road. So once you come up the hill from the beach area, you come across what was, it's an old wall, but an old building as well here. Because there's several families used to live in this area. It's a nice wooded part. And just along to the left is Rowardennan Bothy. Oh. See the path with the West Highland Way post at the end of it. There it is just ahead. Don't know if you can see it, but it's just 20 yards ahead. Then the path into the Bothy is off to the left. So, as I'm here, I think I'll just get in the bothy for a wee gander. It's time for lunch, but I'll probably have it just further along the path here. Not in the bothy, it's a nice day. I'll probably eat it when we get up onto the high path there. So the bothy used to be the old barn, and then there was a big house here, which is on the left. So the door into the bothy is round past, round the front. Oh. So here it is. There's a wee note. One of the reasons I don't like to stay in bothies. Warning, mice attack. Bothies aren't for me. One of the reasons I go for walking is fresh air. And one thing you don't get in a bothy is fresh air. Plus, loads of mice. In your tent, you don't get mice, normally. So just back out and we'll be joining with the high path in 2 minutes. And here's where the low path meets the high path, which is the forest road. So once you come up here, you carry on down the road. And the road only goes for another 300 metres or so. Then there's a turning circle for vehicles, and then it becomes a footpath. And it's one single footpath all the way to Fort William from there. There's a signpost, direction arrow is stolen, and there's the high path heading south again, which is the way I'm about to go. But first, go to stop, have a wee drink, something to eat, then head on. So this path, bearing in mind we're now going south, from here is simply up, 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 quite a bit, and then down for quite a bit, and up again for quite a bit, and then down all the way to Rowardennan. So it's a straightforward path, and it's easier than the other path, but the views from here are nowhere near as nice as what they are on the low path. So if you need the easier route, then this is the one to take. If you don't need the easier route and you've got plenty of time, take the low route. Now for me, normally, if I wasn't stopping, going back and forward, taking pictures, no, I always take pictures, but going back and forward, doing filming, if I was just going straight, the high path from signpost to signpost would take 50 minutes. It's about 2.5 miles. and then the low path would normally take about 65 minutes. So it's a wee bit longer. And I normally walk about 3 miles per hour. But all depends on you and your speed of walking. But time-wise, there's not that much difference between them for me. But the low path does give better views. I mean, this is winter time. This is 14th of January 2025, and you can see through the trees. But when these are green from April onwards next year, you can't see a thing through these. So the low path is the most picturesque, a wee bit tougher, it's not that bad. I've seen people saying how it's scrambling over rocks and tree roots. No, it's not. It's people don't know what scrambling actually means in terms of walking up hills. Scrambling means 3 points of contact. That's 2 feet, 1 hand, or 2 hands and 1 foot, with the ground at all times. So 3 points of contact with the ground at all times. There is no point in that low path where you have 3 points of contact with the ground. So there's no scrambling. There are some tree roots, there are some rocks that you have to step up and down and over, but they're nothing, they're not difficult, they're quite simple. So I'll come back once we get to, I'm going up here and then I'm going down a bit. Once I get down to the lowest part of that, that's where I'll meet the path that I showed you that came up from the low path up onto the high path. I'll show you where that meets. So you would see it from, if you're walking the high path from Rowardennan up to Inversnaid. So I'll come back then, which isn't too far away. So this is the point where I've come up from the WHW junction, uphill, then downhill to this point. This is a low part, and here you see a West Highland Way marker on your left there, and then round there is the path down, and it'll lead down onto the low path where there was another West Highland Way marker that I showed earlier. But if you were going north, as most people are, you come along here and keep on the road, don't take that path down there. And there is the West Highland Way marker showing that this is still the West Highland Way. High path and low path are both the West Highland Way. Lots of people say the high path isn't, but it is. Has been on the map since 1984. Now originally in 1980, the first map that came out of the West Highland Way, it was only they only marked the low path. The high path wasn't listed as part of the West Highland Way. But I think, no, I've never walked it at that time, but I think the low path was pretty damn messy. And so they made the high path the West Highland Way as well. They gave people the option. And most people, when I started doing it, which was 1993, nearly everybody took the high path. And it was only in 2015, after a lot of work on the low path, that they reopened it with a new start point, which I went down at the beginning of this video. So now, this is a very large uphill part. So we get to the highest point and then down all the way to Rowardennan. So on the high path, I've just come past the highest point of the high path, and so basically it's mostly downhill to Rowardennan, but as you can see there's not much view through the trees. These are particularly dense ones. A wee bit further on they'll slacken off and there'll be more space, but still the view's obstructed. And just along at this corner is other buildings. In fact, there's a wall down in there. Don't think you'll see it on this, where there was buildings, and then along here on the left there's a remnants of a wee building as well, right beside the stream. But as you can see, this path is nice and easy and simple. So there's a wee stream, and then the building, and an outbuilding as well. Buildings there, and then the outbuildings up on the left a wee bit more. But on this path there are a couple of muddy parts where there's vehicle tracks and it's quite muddy. Come across one already further back, but it was easy to walk through one of the vehicle tracks. Now, as usual, lots of people have walked away to the side through the grassy bit and it's pure mud, but it was easier walking through the vehicle track. And up here there's an abundance of these waterfalls. Lots of nice clean water. Which I am very grateful for normally during the summer if it's hot. I always feel as though there's not enough water. When it's really hot, but of course there's tons of water. So I'll come back just as we reach the start of the low path where we headed off earlier on this morning. And back down at the low path, high path junction. The low path is just down there. So, nearly finished. It's down, not very far, to Ptarmigan, and then fairly flattish all the way from there over to Rowardennan car park. So, a quick summary. For me, low path versus high path. Low path is better for the views. However, if you push for time or you're knackered, then the high path is most definitely easier. And from going from this side, from Rowardennan side, it's up and up and up and up. Feels as though it's never ending. Then it gets to a high part. Oops, nearly went over. Last minute thing, of course. That's what happens. Not paying attention, too busy Look at my ugly dip. So it's up to a high point and then it goes down for quite a bit. You come to a junction, but you just keep straight on the road, and at that junction is a West Highland Way post, and then up again, not so far, then down, not so far, to the next junction where the low path comes up and meets the high path again. So the low path, yes, it's up and down a few times. It's stone steps, wooden steps, a few bridges. However, it's nothing difficult. It's just a walk. And as I said during the film, people say it's scrambling. There's no scrambling whatsoever. There is no point where you are continually having 3 points of contact with the ground, meaning 2 feet in one hand or 2 hands in 1 foot at all times. That's not happening. Now you might have to put your hand down to steady yourself when you're going over a rock or something. That's not scrambling. That's just using your brains to steady yourself. And it's a good thing to do. Oops. I said downhill all the way. And as soon as you get a 10-yard uphill, it's like, oh my god. Anyway, I can see Ptarmigan Lodge right beside me. And out to Loch Lomond. So this was 24th of January 2025. No, it wasn't. Talking rubbish. This was the 14th of January 2025. A wee day out. There was three trees across the path this morning. So I'll get those reported to the National Park and they'll be cleared quite quickly normally. Now, I think that's it. If I think of anything else, I'll add it to the end. But thanks for watching. I hope it's helpful for those who are always looking and questioning what's the difference between the high path and the low path. They're both good routes. You have to make the decision for yourself on the actual day normally. You might have a plan. I want to do the low path. But on the day, you might go, once you get there, oh, I am struggling today, so I'm going to take the high path. So things can be changeable. That's not an issue. So hopefully, a couple of wee parts that I filmed on the low path will help you make your decision. It's not that bad. It's just 1 foot in front of the other, like any part of any walk. So I hope you enjoy your West Highland Way adventures as much as I enjoy mine, and I enjoy them very much. So much so that I'll come out in wee days like this just for fun, and I don't add all these wee days up and say, oh, that's me done it again. But some people add their West Highland Ways like that, and that's up to them. There's nothing wrong in that. That's not for me. I only count full West Highland Ways. Okay, speak to you later. So back at Rowardennan. Nice wee walk. It's just after 1 o'clock. Gorgeous day, gorgeous wee walk. Actually, even though it's just a wee walk and I'm starting at Rowardennan, I'm only going halfway to Inversnaid and back. Oh, I'm knackered. But gets your legs moving. And tomorrow it's to be an even nicer day. 10 degrees at the moment, or 11 degrees. So I think I'll go for Conic Hill tomorrow and just have a nice wee relaxing walk and absolutely stunning views. One of the favourite views in the whole West Highland Way is from the top, or when you're coming over the shoulder of Conic Hill and then you just see Loch Lomond and the Highland boundary fault line, which runs right through Conic Hill and through the islands and right down to Arran. It's amazing. So, hope you enjoyed this and I hope it helps you.